Hey there, welcome to saas.unbound podcast. I'm your host, Nadeina, head of growth at saas Group, serial acquirer buying wonderful SaaS businesses to take them to the next level. And here I chat with inspiring founders and experts to get an inside scoop on how they made their business success. So here today with me is Christian, co-founder of Gominga, a one-stop shop for review management, and also one of our beloved companies in SaaS Group portfolio. Welcome.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everyone.
It's great to see you here. It took us some time to schedule this. You guys are super busy. You're building a lot of exciting stuff. So I really can't wait to get into this. But first, let's start with your background.
So my own background, business educated, have worked in e-commerce for years, was at Amazon at some point, which also then led me to join the group here, my co-founders to found Gominga. But we
All
can
right.
dive into that in more detail, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, so I gave a bit of a brief what Gominga is, but if you dig a little deeper into this and like the problem you're solving, that would be great.
Yeah. So we are the one-stop shop for review management, as you say. We're a SaaS company. We have a software that enables our clients to monitor, analyze, and respond to online ratings, reviews, and Q&A. So this is what we do. So in a way, we want to help our clients, and those are predominantly big corporates, big brands, to listen to their customer feedback, to understand what people say about their products and services on various online platforms, and then to take action with those consumer insights during their operations.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when I first got to know you guys and saw a list of your customers, I was like, "Go Gaminga, doing great." But yeah, it was super interesting, and I want to dive deeper into how you got to work with it because I know a bit of a story. We met with Peter, one one of your colleagues at Code Talks, this super awesome tech conference in Hamburg. And if you're listening, you're a techie, definitely check it out next year. But yeah, how did you decide that this is a problem to solve, and who was your best customer?
Well, back in the days when the company was founded and when the idea first came up, we always like to tell this analogy about social media. So early on, companies had software tools to manage their social media channels, yeah, like Facebook, nowadays obviously TikTok and all the others. But back in the days, we found that people are influenced by the ratings and reviews. And by people, I mean the users, the end consumers, the customers. When you buy on Amazon, when you book your travels on bookings, when you search a location on Google. So early on, ratings and reviews have influenced our purchasing behavior. But at the time, we found that many companies didn't really make use of that. Yeah, they didn't really make use of that customer feedback to improve their products, improve their services, improve their marketing activities, their product development, etc. They didn't make use of that chance in the digital world to interact with users, with their customers by responding reviews or responding to questions. So yes, everybody does that on social media. Yeah, I mean, every company has a software for social media, as I said, to manage your Facebook account, to interact with users on Facebook, which is always on the brand level. So it's, in our view, very in concrete. Yeah, it's not specific. But when it comes to review management, we say, hey, you as a brand, you as a company, you really have the opportunity to respond to a question that is tied to one specific product. You have the opportunity to respond to feedback to one location if you have locations. So it's very specific. And we believe that, again, for the brand, it's a huge opportunity to grasp that, to analyze the feedback and to respond and to interact. And hence, now coming to the second part of your question, what is our target customer? So we
Mhm.
started really with big household brands in the consumer electronics industry. Why is that? Because years ago, those were the ones big enough and professional enough in a way that they already had professional teams internally to manage their online retail accounts, their Amazon accounts, for example. Yeah. And over the years, obviously, it progressed, and nowadays we say, hey, anybody who sells services, products online, who gets reviews, who gets the customer feedback on online retailers, but also on Google, the mobile app stores, Trustpilot, etc., is in theory our target client. Yeah. Again, a certain size is really relevant, makes it only relevant because if you are small, if you only get 10 reviews per month on any of those platforms, you can still do it manually. But we say, hey, as soon as your business is reliant on those online channels, as soon as there is a certain volume of reviews, it totally makes sense to use a software for that. And that's when we say, hey, Gominga is your partner to professionally manage reviews.
Awesome. Well, one question that I often hear from especially earlier stage founders who want to go after, household brands and bigger clients is how to get to them, how to get to that person that actually makes the decision. Well, first of all, how to figure it out, right? So like for some brands, it's definitely a problem to figure out who's going to be using the product, but also who decides if they're buying it, but also just getting basically the contact information of that person. And maybe, you started over 10 years ago, right?
10 years ago, the company was
Yeah.
founded. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was easier or a bit easier at that time, but tell me more. Were there any tricks, any tips that you used to actually get to the person that makes the decision?
Well, I guess in the beginning, it's in our case and in many other startup cases, it's all about your personal network. It's all about knowing people. It's all about getting in touch. It's back then attending physical events, networking, and finding that one pilot client or the one, two, three pilot clients. And we were lucky enough that we were able to have a big brand or big brands early on. I mean, BSH, so Bosch Siemens Household Goods, was one of our earliest clients. Two others in the consumer electronics space were our earliest clients. And so we had a relatively long pilot phase because when you start with enterprise clients right away, obviously your product has to work. Yeah, an MVP, yes, everybody talks about MVPs, but at least at the days back in the days, you had to have a proper working product. And yes, as I said, during those times, those were the most sophisticated companies in our space in a way. Yeah. And especially in Europe, the first few years, we were kind of educating more than selling. So you always have to say, okay, are you really early on in your innovation? Are you maybe too early for the market? What's the geographical market that's right for your product? So when we talk about failures or drawbacks, the US market or the North American market was always way ahead, at least in the early years, in terms of people knew what review management is all about, and companies were more professional in that way. But luckily, or it's just a normal in the digital age, this has changed. And I guess today, Europe, Germany, France, whatever, people do understand what reviews are all about and that it is important to manage them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that you mentioned before. We really needed a working product to go after those clients. So, how did you know what was good enough? Did you start working with a certain client where you kind of started building for them, and that's how you figured out what features you needed there, or maybe you started with some competitors in the US where you thought, okay, well, they have those features and they work, and that's at least what we have to implement.
No, with the clients here, and then especially my two co-founders who had worked together previously in the technology space in terms of scraping and crawling, that was their know-how and really the background, and it was really piloting then with those two, three clients here, and it was really all about, okay, everybody knows about Amazon reviews from the consumer point of view, so make sure that we get all those reviews into our system. And then the second step, which still is a core of our offering today, is analytics first, but then also response. Yeah, that we say no matter what platform, no matter if it is Google reviews or questions on any of those platforms, that we say, okay, you as a brand, you need to know. So that's all about monitoring and analytics, what people say about your products and services. And the second is really the response, and that's on the tech side more sophisticated. It really is our USP to also enable the response mechanism then. So these were these two factors that the tech team was able to offer early on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, something that I've been hearing more and more in the podcast when we talk to founders that sell to enterprise is that it's way easier when they go to them actually showing basically like how much money they're saving them and like really showing the numbers. And when you have the data, the decision is made then way faster. So, was that something you were using, or how were you convincing, especially in the earlier days, people to buy the product?
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely right. And as I mentioned, we have those two angles we can address, and depending on the persona and depending on who you know first, in a way, you know where your entrance is within the organization. One is all about increasing revenue, so conversion on the platform. Yeah, if you say, okay, if you can manage your reviews and if you can increase your star rating, then your conversion will improve and your sales or revenues will go up. And the other is the cost side, as you say. If you talk to customer service people, social media people, for example, and say, okay, if we just calculate the hours, which is costs, if you calculate the hours it takes your team to manually check those Amazon product questions, those Google reviews, etc., and try to manually log into each backend and then respond to all those queries or complaints. That really is a lot of time at the end of the day. And with our software, you can do it in a much faster way. So you have huge cost savings, basically. So these are the two angles that we can play. And yes, that's always important in your sales pitch.
Were there any surprises in terms of who is going to use the product, but who was the buyer, and how to go after both, convincing that it's a cool tool to use, that simplifies your life basically, and that it's also good for the business when you talk to the decision maker.
Yes, yeah, certainly. And that has changed over the years or is changing every so often. So in the beginning, we were really looking at those Amazon teams, those e-commerce teams, those multi-channel teams, and then often on the operational side, then the customer service teams, for example, use our ticket management system to respond. Yeah, so sometimes you have those situations that one is really the budget holder, and then other teams use it operationally.
All right. What was the kind of, or maybe still is, the biggest objection that you have to work with?
As I said, in the early days, we had to educate, so people didn't really see the relevance and said, "Oh, we don't need that." So that was in the early days. But there's so many studies out there, academic publications, that today people do understand the relevancy and the importance of ratings and reviews on the buyer, as I said, on the purchasing process. So that objection we don't see anymore. Now it really is to convince people to use a software and manage reviews across multiple platforms. Yeah, some still say, oh, we have the intern, the working students, whatever. But at least over the last 2-3 years, and now this year, especially with Gen AI, people understand, okay,
Mm.
if you want to analyze big data, you need to have software and AI to do that.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, because you're working with so many platforms, right? You're scraping all this data. You are reliant on those platforms, and we both know that this is not a small feat, and this is something that comes with a certain risk. So, how do you manage that risk, and like, how does it change basically your workflow?
Yeah, we say it's not a bug, it's a feature, as you say. So we have always said strategically we want to do only ratings, reviews, and Q&A. And I mean, over the years with clients, congresses, and your own team, you always challenge that. Yeah, should you go into different directions? Should you do an only Amazon tool? I mean, there are many companies out there, great software companies. They focus on any of those platforms. Yeah, for example, only Amazon, only Google, only mobile apps. You can do that, and then obviously you don't only do reviews and ratings, but the rest as well. We said no. Our core really is to do ratings and reviews, but across platforms, and that means, as you say, I think we have more than 300 platforms that we offer. starting with, as I said, those product platforms, those online retailers, the D2C shops, then the location platforms like Google, like Yelp, then mobile apps with Apple and Google predominantly, then those other platforms like Trustpilot. So yes, it is a very broad spectrum of platforms. And yes, our tech team has to monitor those constantly, that everything runs smoothly. Yes, and every so often, the big ones like Apple, Google, Amazon, they do change their product detail pages, etc. And then our tech team has to make sure that we do the changes as well, or that we can then get the correct data into our system.
All right. So just day-to-day business.
It is in a way day-to-day business. And as I said, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Over the years, when we look at our competitive landscape, that really is something that sets us apart, or I would say that is the opportunity for small software companies to do this, because the large ones, if you really look at the big players like Qualtrics, like Sprinkler, like, those huge enterprise software vendors, they don't want to do that. They focus on platforms, if they do that at all, that have APIs. But as soon as there is no API, they're not going to do it. They don't want to mess with that. And I think that's an opportunity for small companies like us. And then we can see if we can partner with those in OEM models, etc.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's obviously talk a little bit about the acquisition. I mean, we're super happy to see you guys with us. How did that happen? Why sell the company in the first place? I mean, you're doing a great job. What was the main reason?
Well, I mean, after years and years of putting in a lot of work and efforts, there comes a time where you're open for the exit discussion. And I mean, we were three co-founders, and one wanted to leave due to personal reasons. So we were open, and I mean, we have been discussing that with, you have partners, you have strategic partners in your network, etc., and then you have companies like saas.group. Yeah, and then it was more or less a coincidence that we kind of knew each other through Zenloop, which is also one of the group's brands. We're all in the customer experience management field, so we knew them, and I guess that kind of brought one step to the next. And we had a first meeting, just a casual lunch meeting, and from there on, the talks just progressed.
Oh, interesting. All right. Because when you mentioned strategic acquirers, the always kind of the argument there is that, first of all, it potentially is a much bigger multiple, and an opportunity to like really grow and get that, your TechCrunch article where it says, Siemens acquired us or whatever. So what was for you the biggest reason to sell to saas group? Like, was it the fact that somebody already did it and we're happy, personal connections, maybe the experience of the founders? Yeah, what was it?
I think it's always a mixture. I think we wanted to keep the company as it is. We want to continue doing what we do, because we do believe in our product. We do believe in the market potential that there still is out there. And I mean, left and right over the years, you speak with many startups, you see many failures, you see many successes. And maybe on the where you said, many say, okay, the big strategic buyer is the best you can get. We've seen quite a few that were purchased by big strategic players, and then after 6 months, after 12 months, that startup was non-existent. Everybody was let go. So there's also some negative stories on that. That wasn't obviously our main reason. But during the talks with saas Group, with Tim, Ulrich, and Tobias, we really got to know the guys in the group, and we thought this might be the right place for us.
Okay, that's awesome. That's I'm kind of proving my hypothesis here while I'm talking to you. But yeah, tell me a little bit more about the due diligence process, because a lot of people are kind of confused. How difficult it is, how hard, how lengthy it can be. What was it for you?
It was a very good process. In total, I have to say it was very transparent. It was very fair, and that's why I said getting to know the potential acquirer. Yeah, having conversations, getting a feeling how they work, about the culture. I think is most important, because in the end, at least for us who want to stay, uh, these are the people you will work with. Yeah. So I think this is very important to, yeah, as I said, get a feeling, the people, the culture, the touch, the personal touch, and that was all felt all right, felt very positive. So I mean, any due diligence process, you do the standard stuff, all the documents, all the financials, etc. But I thought, again, it was very transparent, it was very fair, it was honest discussions. So it was a very good process, very professionally organized and carried out. What I can say now, almost, or yeah, over a year back, what the process looked like.
Perfect. I just want to make the point about what I just said, that, we had some time to schedule this, and then, this is kind of the first time when I get to talk to you about your decision, not because we don't talk at saas group, but because we stay true to, like, keeping brands independent and really letting you guys work on your stuff and prioritize your stuff. So, this is just, again, your decision to join the podcast whenever you're ready. So thank you for that, for finding the time. But were there any, like, surprising moments where you thought, okay, we kind of had everything in place already? We thought that if we were at any time ready to sell, we could just give it like, show everything, give everything away. But there was, like, this one thing that when we thought, oh, okay, we never expected that.
Mm, Not the one thing that I can recall, to be honest. I mean, yes, you have stuff prepared as good as you think you can prepare it. Obviously, you always have to update it then, or update it at the moment in time then, and you never know. And I mean, you obviously have discussions with multiple potential buyers. Some really focus more on that area, others have more questions in another area. But there wasn't one thing that really stood out that surprised.
Perfect. And like, when you were deciding to sell, and were looking for potential acquirers, did you do any kind of, like, buyer due diligence, like what they're doing, what companies they've acquired before? Again,
Yeah.
what were you looking for?
Oh, I mean, of course, you do your research. Yeah, you read all the media that's out there about the company, about the acquirer. Yeah, you look at the whatever. Yeah, if it's publicly traded, you look at the financials, the reports, etc. Yeah, if they're private, you try to yeah, research and find out most what you can find out. What was great, that saas Group offered us to speak with three of their portfolio brands that had been acquired previously. I think that was really a nice move. So we had the chance to speak with three of their other co-founders or CEOs from other brands, and that really gave us trust. Yeah, that's really a big trust issue, I think, in that process, that they were fully open again, fully transparent to say, hey, we don't have anything to hide. If you want to, you can speak to those guys. And we did have those calls and those meetings with them, and they, yeah, explained and told us their process and where they are at the moment, and how working with the group really is after 6, 12, 24 months after the acquisition. And that was important for us, as I said, yeah, because we wanted to still grow our baby, yeah, to still carry on doing what we do, what we love to do, and that holds true completely. So I mean, after now it's almost a year, it holds true.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because, somehow I see that the perception sometimes is that when you sign a deal, it's done, that's it, and you're kind of just, if you have an earn out period, well, yeah, you have to work with that company, but still, yeah, kind of the perception is that once the deal is signed, the deal is done. And yeah, there are a lot of surprises often after, because, well, frankly, it's just the beginning, right? If you're staying with the company, you will have to start working with these people, like you said, and really see what it is about. So, how's it going for you? How's the feeling? How's the team integration?
It's going very, very well. I think that the one thing that one advice for any founder, co-founder company that wants to sell, the only surprise for you personally is that there is no break. As you say, yeah, the work just starts. So there is not that 3 months break to yeah, relax. So it continues straight away. But no, I think again, everything that was said during the due diligence process was true. Yes, there's always a post-merger integration project. There's always stuff that during that PMI project that is not only fun. Yeah, I mean, system integrations, tech integrations, all that stuff that has to be done. But I guess everybody understands that. Yeah, that's just a matter of fact. So that's one thing that you have to, yeah, acknowledge that there will be a few months, 3 6 months, where you have to integrate with certain systems, etc. But makes total sense if you're part of a bigger group that you have the same toolings, etc. But what really is great to have that support from certain central teams. So again, SaaS Group, yeah, there's 20, 25 odd brands like Gominga, and then you have central teams that you can work with or that offer support, and it's really fantastic. So I really have to say praise, yeah, and thumbs up, starting with HR and recruiting, which is fantastic. For a small company, yeah, you don't have all those resources. You don't have dedicated people in HR and recruiting. Coming to bookkeeping, accounting, finance, where again, as a small company, you don't have a full team for that. Most of the time, one of the co-founders takes care of that, as was the case with us. So these are really the central teams that are fantastic, that are supporting us in a great way. More the back office functions, so to say, but these are really, really important. And then in terms of the business teams, we have been working with the central marketing team, which is great in terms of experts in SEO. We're working on a website relaunch where they have fantastic designers on board. Into the tech team, the DevOps team, AI experts. So our tech team is working with the AI expert from the group to improve our offering, our product. So these are really the big wins that we can see after the acquisition.
Oh, that's quite a testimonial. Thank you, Christian.
Yeah, I mean
It's really
it's just it's the truth. So yeah, we're really happy about that and can really say, hey, it's a great group of people that we yeah learned to know over the months, almost a year now, as I said, and it's great to have those experts on board. We haven't met all of them yet, and I don't know if we will work with all and every single expert in the next year. But the people that we got to know, they're all fantastic. They're great. It's always fun to work with them, and yeah, that's great with the central teams. And not to forget, and this is really push or pull. You can see it either way. Those other brands within the portfolio, yeah, because I mean, there's
Mhm.
other brands where you can exchange knowledge, have some sparring partners on the tech side, because maybe the technology is similar to what you do, and also on the business side. So it's always great to have that pool of people, and you can just slack them, and everybody will respond, and that's really nice.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great value add. And I mean, for even for the central team, when a brand joins us, I mean, you can have tons of years of experience, but there will always be something else you want to learn and you've never met before in your career. And yeah, having all the brands join, and it flows both ways. So we learn from the brands and then we share what we have. And that's even without mentioning with all the fun that we have when we get together. That's what
Exactly.
you have to experience when you sell to us. But if you had one piece of advice for the founders who are looking to sell their company, what would be the number one?
Well, a bit as you said, or what we discussed already, do your own due diligence. Yeah, check out the potential buyer and speak to people, because that really was the crucial factor in the end why we decided to sell to SaaS Group. It was the
Yeah,
people, the culture, and that we thought, yeah, this is really the best place for us to continue doing what we do, what we love to do, and to grow the company.
that's wonderful. So, what's next for Gominga? You mentioned already you're working much more on your marketing, you're redesigning the website. So, what's happening?
What's happening? A lot of stuff is happening. Yeah, not surprisingly, as we said, AI is a big topic in terms of product improvement, product development. That's on the roadmap, or the tech team is working on that. And then just market outreach. We want to grow more internationally. Our sales team is ramping up to win more of those great brand clients.
Okay, wonderful. And I want to come back just a little bit to one of the first questions we had here when you said it was really important for you to find customers through events and through personal connections. And I guess it makes sense. I mean, right? Relationship building is really important when you are selling to enterprise clients. And I know that you've been to a couple of conferences later. So how do you approach them? How do you really pick those that are super relevant? And are you planning to explore more and maybe go to other places?
Yeah, we do. So, I mean, I think it's always a combination. You have to have a good online presence, obviously. Yeah. You have to have a good online presence. You have to know where your client is. So, I mean, that's the general, website, SEO, SEA, and then for us, it's LinkedIn. Yeah, because that's where our personas are. That's really important. And we are based in Germany, and yes, we have a lot of clients, or at least the contact people are still in Europe, but we also have a lot of international clients. So we really see that outbound, we do concentrate on Europe, but inbound, we have international clients from North America, from Africa, from Asia, from South America. That's really a mixture. We think that if you sell to enterprise clients, the customized approach is important. That doesn't necessarily have to be physical. Yeah, it's just a customized approach. You have to know who you target. So we put a lot of emphasis in our sales team that we don't have just the standard wording, the standard pitch, but always try to make it customized to find out who the person is, how you can approach them, how you can communicate with them. And that has been quite successful so far. And as you said, yes, just we are now at mid end September. So there's quite a few industry events in August, September here in Europe. I mean, we just went to IFA in Berlin, so the big consumer electronics and home appliances trade fair. That's always very important because there you meet those big brands like Samsung, who's a client of us, of LG, all those big players. And that's, yes, why we attend those events. And our sales team has been quite successful this year as well with appointments and now follow-ups.
Yeah, I hear some news about you guys, so doing a great job. But okay, just a couple more questions. What so far you think is the biggest win for you and the biggest mistake, maybe failure or challenge that you've had over this 10 years building Gominga?
Well, the biggest win, as you said, I think we can be really proud of having and serving those clients, big brand name clients. As I said, it's Samsung, LG, Bosch, Gardena, so many big household names that everybody can relate to. We do have a lot of clients in other industries as well. Some of them we don't are not allowed to name. We have clients from financial services, etc. So also great companies also in North America. A lot of big retailers, telcos, etc. That really makes us proud to serve those clients. I think these are the biggest wins early on and still today. We really celebrate when we win new clients.
What about the challenge?
The challenges or I mean, failure, you do so many right and wrong things during each day and during those years. I think failure or what we could have done better at some stages is we are a German company, so sometimes German over engineering really was a drawback. If you compare yourself then with not only direct competitors but also in adjacent markets, I think some of the US players, their product is okay. It's not bad, but it's okay, and they are perfect then to market it. I think we sometimes did a little bit too good of a product. Yeah, we really have the Porsche and not the small car. So we have the Porsche, and then we start selling the Porsche. I think these are some of the examples where, in retrospective, you could say, okay, go and market it earlier, yeah, push it marketing and sales earlier, and don't always try to have the perfect product.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, we were all, and me and Peter from Gominga, we were just at this tech conference in Hamburg, and we had a panel about scraping and how to make a scraper a business, and I shared my very honest opinion that probably it is a little bit easier, and especially for the crowd that we were in, to build a scraper than to sell it and market it. And I was expecting a few boo-hoos from from the audience, but they were super supportive. And Peter was actually telling the story of of this, and how, it was really crucial to just figure out who you're going after, and yeah, how to customize the message for the clients. All right, so one more question is about a hack, right? Can be anything, anything business related, or building a killer team, figuring out who you're going after, anything that works for you.
Just one small hack. I don't know if it is a hack. Many of the listeners or viewers will also do that. But I think in terms of your own time management and organizing your day, time boxing is really crucial. So I started that a while ago, and that really works to organize your mind and make sure that you really focus on the important stuff.
All right, I need to talk to you about that. I need that.
I'm not saying that it works 100%, but it works. Not every day, but most.
All right, the next internal SaaS Academy session is about time boxing.
Excellent.
Yes.
Looking forward to that.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Christian. I mean, like I said, Gominga is a great addition to the portfolio, and we love seeing what you guys are doing, and just, the sheer motivation of like how you're approaching every new development in the company is amazing to see. So thank you for sharing the story, and as always, happy to do it again sometime.
Thank you very much, Anna. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Same here, and take care.